All right, so just a quick recap of what we did last time. We have the ball controller, script, and all this other stuff from the Prawn game. We made a games folder here to put our Space Invaders game in. And so we have scripts here, we have a countdown timer, game manager, and a UI manager. I think because we started already on the countdown timer, let's work on the UI manager, which is kind of fun. We have this little countdown text here, but I think we should add for now, just a couple different placeholders. So I'm going to make a panel here, and this is just going to be called welcome panel. And then I'm going to duplicate this, and this will be like our game UI panel. And we might end up deleting the image. Game UI panel. And game over panel. And then, I mean, really our game over panel, we'll just for the heck of it, maybe we might not even use both of these, but we'll do like a game win panel. And these panels, maybe we'll do like game over will have its own art, game win will have its thing, like we'll have a monster on top of our character or something. I don't know. But it's nice to kind of segment all of these out. And so let's go ahead and open our UI manager script, and let's just briefly script out all of these components. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and create some variables. So let's just say reference to various UI panels. And I'm going to pause the video, and I won't force you to watch me type all these out. And we've actually done these before, so it shouldn't be too confusing. So I'll be back in a second. All right, so here's our different reference to our different panels. We have a TextMesh Pro one. Remember to include the TMP Pro namespace. We have a countdown text here, which is going to store some text and a bunch of game objects. So let's save this, and let's jump back into Unity and hook these up. All right, here we are back in Unity. I have my UI manager here. And I'm just going to drag my welcome panel in here, my countdown text panel. And if it helps, you can actually kind of reorganize these so that they match where they go. So like, you know, countdown text is here, welcome panel is here, game UI, game over panel, and then game win panel. So I just kind of have them in the same order. Make sure to save your scene. And yeah, let's get back and let's hide all these panels because we have them all visible here, and we want to start off with all of them hid. All right, so let's make a function. So I'm just going to type this out really quick, private void. And I'm typing it out to sort of show you a trick. And this is called hide all panels. Oops, I hit Shift Enter to open it in a new one. We don't really need that. So really what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just double click this, paste it, do set active, and then type false. So what this will do is this will turn off our panel from our view. And I'm just going to hit, let's see, Control D a bunch of times. We'll get some errors. And I'll do countdown text. This is a little different because countdown text is actually, we need to make it a reference to the game object part. So you have to do countdown text.gameMagic that set active false. And then for the rest of these, we can just copy and paste them. And I'm going to hit Control D to duplicate that one more time and then paste that. So right off the bat, and we can, in Start, I can just grab this here, paste it in here and hit comma, hit Control S. Let's jump back into Unity and let's see how they all turn off right away just from calling that method. All right, here we are back in Unity. I'm going to press play. Boom, they're all inactive. And I'd like to turn them on based on the different game states. That's sort of the rationale here, because we don't necessarily need to see our game over panel and game win panel while we're playing the game. It would kind of be obnoxious. So let's go back into Unity and continue scripting, or into Writer. or Visual Studio if you're using Visual Studio. All right, so based on whatever the current state is, we want to set these panels as I mentioned before. So we also want to do this, and we also need to update our timer, our countdown timer, based on whatever state we're in. So I'm going to rechange just the name of this update to update countdown timer. And I'm going to pass in the time left here, so integer time left. And I'm going to save this. And we have this countdown text here. And I'm going to update that by saying countdown text.text. And then I'm going to make that equal to the time left. Now, this is going to seem a little strange when I do this and I get an error. And the reason for this is text is a string. Time left, that means the number that we're getting fed in here is an actual integer. So we need to convert it using toString to our actual, we have to convert time left. I don't know why that deleted, sorry. Time left to .toString. So this is going to make it into a word. It's going to take the number value from here and put it into a word inside of here. And so that's done. And then in between this, we need a method to check what state we're in, what state we are in, and adjust the UI being displayed. Okay, so let me go ahead and pause the video and I'll go ahead and write that out because it's a little bit longer of a method, but it's the last method in this video. All right, so a couple things. I went back and I noticed I spelled countdown wrong, so that happens. So if you hit Control RR, you can rename it, and it'll rename it everywhere. I think it's the same in Visual Studio, maybe not. Don't hold me as gospel on that. Another thing I did is I noticed that if I just call this set state thing right off the bat, like we can really, the second set state is called, it can hide all the panels. So I don't think it's necessary that we have this in there, but it could be in there as a stopgap. Now, if you didn't watch my other videos on the intro to programming or you're not really comfortable, we have this thing called a switch statement, which can be kind of scary, but it's actually super easy. So up at the top here, we have a reference to our SI Game Manager, which stands for Space Invader Game Manager, right? And so we're saying Game Manager, and we want to access this current game state. So the way you do that, again, if you didn't watch my intro videos, email me and I'll walk you through that. But we're doing, oops, sorry, this is the countdown. Here we go. I'm doing si.gameManager, and then by doing SI Game Manager, which is the name of our class, which remember is public, dot game state, it gives us access to the game state. I can make a variable or method here called new state, which is storing whatever the current game state is being passed in. We haven't actually set the state yet. Like we haven't called this. Even notice that it's gray here. So inside of here, the first thing we'll do when this is called, when set state is called, is we'll hide all the panels. I'm going to leave this in there, I think. And then whatever this new state is, we can switch based on it. So let's say that the current game state that's being passed in is intro. We're going to turn on or set active the welcome panel. If it's countdown, we're going to turn on the countdown panel, playing and so on, the game UI panel, game over panel, win, game panel. So let's save this. And remember, this is hooked up. So let's go back to Unity and actually we have to call set state somewhere. So this is really the it for the UI manager. You know what? Let's jump in our game manager really quick and script up some setting states, I think. All right, we'll finish the game manager in the next video, but I just want to show you quickly just like one thing on how we can set the current state inside our UI manager to the intro screen. So just so that we know what panel we're on, here's our welcome panel. And actually, I just noticed something. I never hooked up the countdown text here. Or maybe I did, but I didn't grab it. But here's our welcome panel. I'm going to right-click on that. And I'm just going to go to UI Text Mesh Pro. And I'm going to make this color like, I don't know, an alien green or something. And let's see. Make the size really big. And maybe set it above the, well, it should be a child. Oh, this is not, this is the, we want to change the color up here. And maybe our welcome panel is way too bright. Let's go darker here. Looks like our background is a white image here, so we can just get rid of the image altogether. But you know what? They're all stacked. You can see they're all stacked here. So anyway, just for now, you can see new text there. And we're just going to say, welcome to SI for Space Invaders. We can type it out better. And then let's expand our box out a little bit here. All right, so we have that. And then here's our countdown. So here's our countdown text. We'll just put a 0 in there so it's not as obnoxious. All right, so what I want to do is I'm going to set this state. So let's jump back into our game manager, and we'll see that, you know, if after we play, everything is off. But if we set our game state to the welcome panel, the UI will read it. So let's just do that, only that one thing in this video. All right, so what we can do is in start, let's make a method here underneath game state here. And we'll just call this method set game state. And we're going to make it of type game state. And then we're going to name this new state. And again, new state is just a name that I just kind of came up with. You can name it current game state, whatever you want. And we're going to pass in or set whatever the current state is. We'll do that in start. Actually, I should have left start there. I think with start, if we do void, and it knows that it's a, let's make sure it's capital. I guess it didn't do it. Okay. So inside of start, I'm just going to say current state, or we'll call set game state. So we're going to set the game state. And notice it has an error because we have one parameter here and we're not satisfying that parameter. And we're just going to say game state. And we can set it, you can see here to, just type that again, game state.intro. So remember, start is called at the very beginning of when our code is, the script is, which is in our scene, is called. So it's just going to pass intro into here. Well, remember earlier we created this private UI manager, SI UI manager. So I can just say UI manager here, and I can paste it inside of here. And I can say, because I have the UI manager here and we have that dragged in there, remember inside of our UI manager, we created this whole method here called set state, and it takes in a current state. Well, it's checking if in this case, if it's set to intro state, we're going to set the welcome panel active to true. So back in our UI manager here, or I'm sorry, back in our game manager here, all I have to do is hit UI manager dot, and you can see I get all this stuff. Like set state, remember that's this method here. Actually, let's just hit shift. Let's open this up and hit shift enter here so we can look at it at the same time. So what I'm doing is I'm setting the state, and that state from the UI manager. So I write UI, actually this should be, yeah, UI manager, because it's SI UI manager. So I'm accessing this. I have an error because it's expecting a game state. It's expecting a game state, and we have one being passed in here. We have a new state being passed in start from here. And it looks like start has an error. Set game state. What is going on here? Oh, I never deleted the one down here. So let's delete that out. So let's save this. And let's see what happens. All right, I'm going to go ahead and press play. And boom, notice it set just this one to active, but all of these inactive. So right off the bat, we have our welcome panel. All right, in the next video, we'll take a look at writing out the rest of our game manager.